Hey YouTube, this video will be a big video. I'm going to be ranking every shrine description in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild based on how accurate they are to the shrine itself. Keep in mind the shrine description is the little name you see under a shrine name telling the player what the shrine will be about, but we'll see if that's really accurate in each case. The criteria I'm using to decide whether a shrine description is accurate or not is based on that description's relevance, clearness, meaning not vague, simpleness, meaning not complex, and uniqueness, which means it's specific to that shrine. Before I get started, I'd like to point out that blessing shrines and apparatus shrine names will be excluded because their names aren't unique at all. I'd also like to thank Yoshi Runs for recording all the clips of the shrines used in the video and helping me decide on whether the shrine names were accurate or not. Please check out his channel in the description. He does some pretty cool speedruns and it's really satisfying. Plus, this video would not have been possible without his help. Now, without further ado, let's get ranking! Alright, so the first shrines we have here are the 4 trial shrines on the Great Plateau. And these are the Magnesis Trial, Bomb Trial, Stasis Trial, and Cryonis Trial. And these shrines are supposed to act as tutorials to the respective rune. Now, the puzzles in these shrines are not consistent as opposed to most shrines. Excluding apparatus ones, obviously. But they it is like they are tutorial shrines. They like these are the first shrines in the game that the player encounters after all. So I would give them a B tier because like after all it is pretty predictable what that each shrine is going to be a trial shrine. And the player does know that there's 4 shrines on the plateau. But these names are kind of lame. So, B. Okay, the next shrine we have here is a Paraglider, a tutorial for the Paraglider, and it's the Wind Guides You. Now, this name is pretty good. Because, like, the wind is directing you after all. And it does show the new player like how you would use wind, because in the shrine you're flying from one wind gust to another in order to proceed. So I'd give the name an A tier. Next here is Twin Memories, and I actually really like this name because these are 2 twin shrines that tell the player. Because one shrine's puzzle or layout would be the solution to the other shrine's puzzle. And that's really nice. Because that's where the memory part comes in. You have to memorize each solution so you can solve the other shrine's puzzle. And twin comes from the fact that not only are they twin shrines, they're also located both on the twin peaks. Well, the dueling peaks. So I'm going to give these an A tier as well. Next up is Timing is Critical. And you have to time a shrine ramp going down with a switch to decide when to let off the shrine orb. And it's pretty nice because the timing does have to do everything with when the orb is going down. But it's not too critical. Like, you're not going to proceed unless your timing is correct, but you're not gonna like outright fail if you mess up your timing, because the orb does respond. But it is critical after all, so I'm gonna have to give it an A tier. And we have the water guides. This shrine, you have to use Cryonis to help you along the water, and there is a Cryonis puzzle at the end to direct an orb into this large hole for the last gate to open up. And, like, yeah, it is a water shrine, but it's not water that's really guiding the player what to do. And what I find weird is that the wind guides you ends in U, but the water guides does not. So, I don't know. But it should have been something more related to Cryonis and not water, because you're not really doing anything with the water itself. You have to make Cryonis in order to guide where the orb goes or where the player has to land. So for that reason, I'll give it... Actually, no, I'll give it a... Nah, C tier is fine. Okay, next up we have drifting. There are drifts in the shrine, yes, but, like, there are other shrines with drifts in them for one, like rafts and stuff. And two, you are drifting, but it's not as much as the other shrine that has those rafts, of course. In this shrine, you're basically just going on the drifts to maneuver across these, like, 5 feet gaps of water. And the name definitely doesn't, like, describe what that shrine is trying to take for the player to solve as a whole. So I'd give the name a C tier for that reason. Alright, next is Talo Naeg's teaching. And before I get on with this shrine, I do have to mention the Test of Strength shrines. I'll get into later why they're here. Alright. So Talo Naeg's teaching, I'd say that the name is pretty nice. It is a tutorial. It is going to be most people's first combat shrine after all. And so the name itself does, like, represent how there will be some sort of teaching going on by the monk. Even though it's by the monk. And also the shrine has the only, like, white guardian in the game, which is pretty weird. So the name overall does a good job. I'd give it a B tier for informing the player. Okay, the next shrine here is 3 boxes. And this shrine's pretty funny, because the boxes aren't actually boxes, they're just chests. And you have to take 3 chests and put it on a switch in order to unlock, you guessed it, a box. With that box, you then are able to put it on the rising platform, which will then lead you to the goal. So it's a pretty smart move on the developer's part to make the box's name to make the chests name boxes instead of just chests. But 3 chests would have been a lot better. Boxes actually work. But the fact that you unlock 1 box at the end just perplexes me. The name is not... It's still pretty good, I would say. So I'm going to give this a B tier. Alright, next is Trial of Passage. This is actually a pretty nice shrine name. It's like a rotating cylinder you have, and you have to use stasis to make your way to the end when you get into the cylinder. And I believe in one part there's literally like a passageway you have to stop the stairs at in order to proceed. So the name, it's pretty helpful because it does specialize on making a passage the most out of all the shrine names or descriptions. So this name gets an A tier. Also, I always found that rotating cylinder pretty cool. I don't know if anyone else did though. Yes, Ancient Trifecta. Don't even get me started. This name is garbage on every single level. you basically have this rotating platform, and you have to take a magnesis box, which to the end, like to lift yourself to the goal, and you also have to do that with the laser shooting that switch, which causes the platform to rotate. I don't know, the name is stupid, because according to Google, Trifecta means a bet in which the person betting forecasts the first 3 finishers in a race in the correct order. Now, if you know what this means, please comment it down. But this name, how does that have anything to do with the actual puzzle? What? You know what? I've had enough of this shrine. This shrine's getting its own category. You know what? Just add row below. Let's make it complete nonsense. Yeah, that makes sense. Ancient Trifecta. Alright. The next 3 shrines are all just test of strength shrines, but I do have a special video for this one. Yeah. Okay. So, I would say that a minor test of strength and a major test of strength are good shrine names, but the one that really stands out here is a modest test of strength, because major and minor are just like, they're just different, like, forms, I guess. Modest is a word that actually means it's not too shabby, because major and minor might not mean, like, advanced or weak in any way. So for that reason, and also modest isn't, like, too arrogant like the major ones. It's not as, like a joke, basically, as the minor test of strength ones. So modest is definitely the right word to use here. I'll give modest an A tier, and the minor major was C tier. Alright, next shrine here is Sunken Scoop. And you have to use a scoop that's sunken to put orbs into a pedestal. And there's 2 rooms of this. First, you have to take the scoop out, and second, you have to put it back again and sink it again so it unfloods the water. And this name, I actually really like this name. This name is one of the best names out there. Because it does show that you have to literally take, like, a scoop is sunken, and then you have to sink the scoop again. So, it doesn't mention anything about orbs, but I'm sure it can be implied with the word scoop. So that gets an S tier. Alright, the next shrine here is Shields from Water. And here you have to Cryonis your way across in one part, and then you have to avoid guardians while you're on a draft for you to glide to the end. And basically, Shields from Water is referring to the Cryonis blocks, because that's what Cryonis could be. So it's a pretty nice name, actually, especially if you don't have a bow and arrow, or any arrows, actually. You could just create the Shields from Water. You could just make Cryonis out of it, and it would act like a shield against those guardians. So I'd say the name's an A tier. Next shrine here is a bit of a over-exaggerated name. We have Speed of Light, and you have to spin a rotating thing to make a laser spin, and it will hit a switch, which will allow the water to rise. And then you have to make your way across that by putting a and then you put a barrel on top, which will later hit a switch, which will trigger the final gate to open. But you have to get back out and hit the switch again for the water to drop. I don't even know how the water drains away, but then you have to hit it again and paraglide quickly to the other side. And you can then proceed to the end with the chest too. Though I don't see how speed of light, you don't really have to be... Well, I guess, yeah, you do have to be fast, but you don't really need to hit the second switch to raise the water again. That's only for a chest. So therefore, the name gets a... And also, you don't move at the speed of light. You move quickly, but you don't move at the speed of light. I'm sorry. There are other shrines where you have to think faster. So, I'll give the shrine name a C tier. Should be good. Nah, I'll give it a B tier. Because, they're also... The laser doesn't have anything to do with it, but... It's just about Link's movement and that one chest at the end. In the puzzle, you don't really have to move that fast. Unless there is one way you could, put Cryonis there as quickly as possible. And maybe that would work. But I don't know. I'm giving it a B tier. Okay, the next shrine is a really annoying one. But the description is actually pretty good. It's literally you have to light 5 flames. And you have to do this with another cube that has 3 switches, I'm pretty sure. And once all 5 flames are lit up, only then you can proceed to the goal. So, the name isn't terrible. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty implicit that you have to, light 5 flames because they're flames after all. Or you have to light 5 torches. So that gets an A tier. Alright. So next here is pushing power. And you have to go up this hill, push an orb down with Cryonis. And at the end, you use stasis to push the orb into its hole. So you're pushing power by 2 methods. The first is Cryonis and the second is stasis. Cryostasis. The name is actually pretty good. But, yeah, I guess both Cryonis and stasis could be used to push energy around. Create energy to push stuff. Especially Cryonis, if you see those glitches, and stasis too in some of the older tricks. So the name gets an A tier. Drop and Rise is the next shrine. You have to... It's a pretty short shrine. You have to shoot a metal box on top, or the platform which it's on, and then you drop it, and that rises you in the air. From there, you could either get a chest or just go straight to the goal. It's a pretty okay shrine name. There's not much to say due to how short it is. But it is the only shrine that has this idea, though. But I guess I'll give it a B tier. It's not, amazing, because the thing that drops and the thing that rises are referring to 2 different things. And if it's referring to the scale, then there's, 3 or 4 scale shrines in the game anyway. Okay, next is Blue Flame, and this is probably my favorite shrine in the game. You basically just carry Blue Flame to the end. There are many puzzles, and they all do relate to Blue Flame, but the thing is that Blue Flame, it could have been just regular flame, so it's not sharing any properties that Blue Flame has on its own, because regular fire does open up gates sometimes, like in 5 Flames, what I was just talking about earlier. So even though the shrine is one of the more beautiful shrines out there, the name itself, Well, it's not really the name that's the issue, it's just the fact that they couldn't implement a way to make Blue Flame unique from regular fire. So I'll give the name a B tier. The next shrine here is Stalled Flight, and this is also a really short shrine. This is something that people struggle with. You basically just stasis a block while it's in the air, and it's touching electricity. And that basically is where the stalled comes in. Also, you have to get on the block first. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, while it's stalled, then you have to fly to the end, which is why it's called Stalled Flight. However, the whole, the electricity part is nice, but the platform going up, I guess that makes sense. I'll give it an A tier. Because stalled literally means that means you're gonna use stasis. There's no getting out of that. And fight means there's a paraglider involved, but it's not a wind shrine. Next shrine here is a balanced approach, and you just have to use magnesis on the scales to raise one scale higher than another to reach the end. Ultimately, however, you don't actually get a balanced approach. I think one scale ends up being higher than the other. And you can use metal boxes to raise or make them go low. So, and the name's not that good, to be honest. Other scale shrines would implement this name better. I'll give it a C tier. Wait, I need a proper reasoning. No, yeah, I think it deserves it to be in C tier. Next here is Passing the Flame. It's also a really short shrine. You have to pass a flame from a torch to some leaves, which burns crates, and then you have to break the last crates, making a ramp to the end. So the second part there wasn't too relevant, but the first one was. Unless you could just, pass the flame to the end, but nah. It gets a B tier for that reason. Could have been much longer, though. And now that I think about it, maybe a balanced approach isn't too bad. No, yeah, I'm still keeping that in C tier. Alright. Next up is Metal Makes a Path. You have to use a metal ball to push some other balls and reach the goal with that. The shrine name's pretty vague. It could mean anything. It doesn't have to mean a metal ball. And also, you're just pushing other balls out of the way. I get that's a path, but path could mean so many things here. And also, the shrine's pretty dumb, so that I have bias against it. I'd say the name. I don't really like the name. Because even that one other shrine that uses the metal door, that could have been named Metal Makes a Path. Because you use the metal door to serve as a ramp. I'll get into that later. So I'm going to give this a D tier. It should have been related to the actual ball instead. But anyway, now we have Power of Fire. And this shrine's name would have been good if the location of the shrine wasn't so off. You basically just shoot down fire barrels and make pathways to make them, and then you hit the switch at the end. It's it definitely, if it was next to Foothill Stable instead of being on the end of a lake, then the name would have passed. And it does showcase what fire can do, after all. But most players are not going to encounter this shrine as their first fire shrine. So I'm going to give this a C tier. Because if it's just power of element, then obviously it's just supposed to be a tutorial or introduction shrine. Okay, next here we have a pretty infamous shrine, Greedy Hill. There is a steep hill, and there are rupees at the end, which would make the player like want to get down there and collect all the rupees in case they're feeling greedy, which will end up for them dying because there's also some spikes rolling down the hill. But also, me and the guy I mentioned earlier, Yoshi Runs, we were actually having a very long conversation about why this would be named Greedy Hill. And it went so far as to one of the reasons being that this has to relate to the greedy algorithm, which basically means you have to take as much as you can while like proceeding, and that's the simplest way I can explain it off the top of my head. The name itself, though, it's like, I can't describe whether it's a good name or a bad name. It's like, no player, it does have rupees, but it's barely anything. I guess, however, the player isn't that far in, because the shrine is literally in the Goron, rock eating side shrine quest. So, this name will get a B tier. Okay, next shrine is Swinging Flames. And you just have to hit flames to swing them, and then you shoot them down with an arrow to solve the puzzle. It's pretty nice, considering not only are the flames swinging when you start, but you also have to swing them yourself in order for them to line up. So the name gets A tier for that. Alright, the next shrine here is Drawing Parabolas. And this is actually one of another pretty good name. You have to form a parabola, a big one with all these like launchers, kinda, and you put an orb and wait for the orb to reach the end. You only draw one parabola though, so maybe drawing parabolas is supposed to be like a present thing, and that's like the theme of the shrine. Well, of course it is, but the actual shrine name, it's amazing actually. Obviously there's no math included, so that's sad. However, the name still gets a pretty high rating. You know what? I'm going to give it an S tier actually. It's an amazing name. It did fool math people like me when I wanted to revisit the shrine, and I thought it would be like really relevant to math, but it's just arranging it in the shape of a parabola. There's no like quadratic equations involved or anything like that. Now that I think about it, I might move it down to A. Yeah, actually, let's just do that. Alright. I might move it back to S. Fateful Stars. I remember this shrine being very dumb. You have to count the number of quote-unquote stars displayed on the wall above. Well, not above, but in front. And then you have to fill an orb in the numbers of stars shapes you see of each respective type in that number socket to unlock the goal. This is one of the dumbest shrines and shrine names ever, because, like, how is the player supposed to know that those are stars? I get fateful, but stars, it should have just been, like, even constellations would have been better than stars, or, like, shrine patterns, I don't know. This name, it's also pretty vague, because, like, Fateful Stars could have been anything. Could have related to the stars outside of the shrine, in fact. Even though, well, there are no shrines, because Lost Woods. And I meant stars. Well, I'm really goofy today. Alright, Fateful Stars can get A. This can get a C tier. It's somewhat accurate to the representation on the shrine, but, like, you can't really say stars for that. And the next shrine here is Tempered Power, which is probably another as equally dumb shrine as Fateful Stars, though not in terms of the name. The name Tempered Power obviously relates to stasis, just like some other shrines like Build and Release, which is coming up soon. So, Tempered Power, in case you guys want to know what shrine that is, that's the Golf Shrine. That's the shrine where you have to hit this orb a certain number of times for it to reach the, for it to like hit the and reach the pedestal or hole basically. And if you hit it too much, it just flies off, and if you hit it too little, it doesn't even reach. So that shrine really sucked. And the actual name itself isn't that bad, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. It could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse, but most stasis shrines are something like that. So it's all about like storing energy, pushing power, tempered power, build and release, etc. So I'm not gonna give that an A tier or above. Next is Shift and Lock, and in this shrine you have to shift a metal box up on some platforms so that you can like reach a chest, but you have to stasis the block while it's up there. I mean, not block, box. And then the chest has a key, so you just have to get out of there, and I guess it's shift and lock because you do have to shift the box up, and you do have to lock it via stasis. So overall, the name is pretty good. I'll give it an A tier. Because, like, it's pretty obvious that you do have to shift and lock one thing, right? But anyway, the next shrine here is Directing the Wind, and you have to cover 2 fans to change the wind, and then that will get the orb to its pedestal. And I guess you do direct the wind, but like, you do a similar thing in Red Giveaway where you have to like manipulate some vents to like get the orb in the actual hole for the platform to go up. But name isn't like too like getting off topic from the actual shrine puzzle, so I don't know. I just feel like there's many other shrines that could be like Directing the Wind. The only difference is that in those shrines, like, there's something unique, really. This would basically be like this, the Wind Guides You, and Wind Guide are all just confusing shrines in general, but the Wind Guides You is nice because that's a starting shrine. And this isn't something like Power of Wind. It's just Directing the Wind. So this and Wind Guide, which I'll get to later, I'll just put this in C tier for now. Next here is Tandem. You just have to hit ropes to drop balls onto the switch with like an arrow. And this name isn't that bad, but like Tandem is something like a 2-wheeled carriage that's like harnessed one before the other, so it doesn't really have anything to do with the fact that there's these big like stone balls and you have to shoot them to hit the switch or whatever. It's pretty irrelevant, and it's also kind of vague. So it's just a dumb name overall. I'll give it a D tier. But these names do get the actual names themselves are more creative. Like, I like one-word names. They're more creative than like the previous ones we were talking about, but they still don't have anything to do with the actual shrine puzzle. Okay, next is build and release. So you have to build energy in a ball, and then you just release it. Yeah, it's just another stasis shrine. A tempered power could have been named build and release if anything. So it doesn't really make sense to name this specific shrine that. I don't know, man. The shrine's, it's pretty vague. It could have been better, though. Like, many other stasis shrines are basically just build and release shrines if you're, like, using it to hit the object. So I'll give it a C tier. Alright, the next shrine here is Steady Thy Heart. First, you walk on a rotating spike platform, then you have to kill guardians in like a water area. Then you have to watch out for some metal balls in your coming like your way. And I don't know exactly. I know thy is yours, so steady thy heart is just a fancy way of saying steady your heart. So it like that basically means you should expect anything in this shrine because of all the sudden things that are happening. Like, don't let your guard off, basically. And the name, it's a pretty neat name, so I'll put it up with Wind Guides You and Shift and Lock in A tier. There are other shrines, there aren't really other shrines that have you anticipating anything as much as this one. Next shrine here is Power of Reach, and you just break 2 boxes at start, magnesis 1 under a bridge. Then you have to reach for some barrels like behind a gate, and you have to burn them to get a key and go to the end. I guess the reach part of this is like trying to use your fire arrow or arrow on fire to light up the barrels. But I mean, that's only one puzzle in the entire shrine whose name is about that power of reach. So if every puzzle had something to do with you reaching something with like an arrow or a Master Sword beam or whatever, then this shrine name would be like on par basically with the actual puzzle. But since it's not, I'll give it a B tier. Okay, Red Giveaway. I actually really like this name. Cause it's like a pun off of Dead Giveaway, and Red Giveaway is showing how if you just use something that's red, and you were to activate that, maybe you could find some block that's just there and you could pull it out or whatever. Obviously, it's magnesis, but the name just gives away the puzzle once you know what the red means. But I guess that is the puzzle. Other than that, I think there is another magnesis block you have to use to like block a vent. But yeah, this name is pretty good. In fact, I'm going to put it up there with Sunken Scoop. It deserves some attention here. This goes in S. Okay. Next here is Wind Guide. And there is this shrine here, the Wind Guides You. But obviously, Wind Guide and the Wind Guides You are 2 different shrines. The Wind Guides You is a starter tutorial shrine for the Paraglider that is a lot shorter than Wind Guide. Wind Guide has you going through, like, so many things. You have to get up to this area first and then use this platform with a Korok leaf and some balloons. It's a very big shrine. And there's also a bunch of not windmills, wind like gusts, basically updrafts. So this name, no, it should have been something different. Like, they don't say you have to use a Korok leaf or anything. It's not really related to that. And plus, you're not, like, you have to create your own wind for that. So if it was something like creating the wind, airbending, then this shrine, I would say, would be, the shrine name would be nice. Description. I'm actually going to give it a C tier, because it's not, like, the worst thing, like Metal Makes a Path, for example, or Ancient Trifecta. It could have been a lot better, though, more related to the puzzle. Alright, we have Path of Hidden Winds. And I was actually stuck on this shrine for a while first playing it, because I didn't read the shrine descriptions. Yeah, I didn't really think they were necessary. So, in this shrine, it's it's good at first until you reach the end and you realize that there's no updraft to go to the goal. But you have to go behind this platform, and then inside the back of there will be an updraft that will take you to the top. But the only problem with this shrine is that it's pluralized, even though it should just be like Hidden Wind or whatever. Path of Hidden Winds doesn't make any sense, because you can just look around with your camera and find the winds. I mean, obviously, I guess it's hidden because, like, you do have to move your camera. It's not right in front of you. But, like, if the name wasn't pluralized and the path wasn't there, then the name would have been a lot more helpful. So, I'll give it a B tier. Better than Wind Guide for sure. Sorry that I'm clearing my throat a lot. Kind of dry. Next shrine here is the Winding Route. Okay, this is like the only lava shrine in all of Tabantha. You have to climb a ladder, drop down. Then you maneuver yourself across a series of fans, which are winding. Like, they are winding. They do create a winding route for you to reach the chest at the end. And that chest has the key, so... And I guess the start is also winding, because you have to go up only to go down. So for that reason, I'll give it a... Well, winding route... I mean, it's not really winding, like, it's more of just a square, but you do have to maneuver yourself across a bunch of platforms while in, like, one straightaway, for example. So I'll give it a B tier. Though I can't think of a better name, like, maneuvering route. Let me know. We have the most basic shrine in the entire game now. Shrine name. Cannon. God. It's literally just you, Link, using cannons. Yeah, the name fits. I mean, it's not a terrible name. All you gotta do is just use a cannon. Like, sure, it might be a little vague, but no other shrine in the game uses cannons, so... This name... I don't know what to say, man. This is a hard one to rank. Like, you gotta use cannons. I don't want to give it S tier, because it's, like, not on par. Because there is more than one cannon, after all. So I'm gonna give it an A tier for that reason. Alright, we only have 24 more non-DLC ones. Let's do this. Windmills. This is the Rito Village shrine. You have to hit switches, like, on the vent, or under the vent, to spin the fans, and that will trigger the windmills, and you have to light up all the windmills in order to reach the end. No other shrine... I mean, no, there are a bunch of shrines that uses windmills, I'm pretty sure. But this one is, like, all about windmills. I don't know. Unlike Canon, it is pluralized, actually, but... Oh, wait, am I missing my memory on Canon? I'm pretty sure Canon had one Canon, right? Whatever, I'll just leave that in A tier. You guys say whatever in the comments, but I'm leaving that in A tier. But Windmills can go with Canon. Because no other shrine in the game uses windmills as frequently as windmills. And Windmills' central idea is windmills, unlike all the other wind-related or any shrine. Next shrine here is a pretty nice name. Aim for the Moment. You have to, like, stasis an orb at the right time to shoot it in a hole. And then a switch will appear at the top while a platform starts to raise now. Well, not raise, it goes up and down. And then from there, you have to time it correctly so that you shoot the switch and then you reach the end. Aim for the Moment seems like a good name. Because, like, you do have to aim for the moment you need to strike, after all. There are other shrines like this, I would say, like... I mean, I guess every shrine that requires you shooting something onto a platform. I want to give Aim for the Moment an S tier, though. Pretty nice name. Yeah. This one, like, it's only 2 puzzles, but I guess it uses all the aiming part more than the other shrines. Unless there's one other shrine I'm missing out on, because it feels like I'm just leaving one other shrine that also uses this Aim for the Moment style. Maybe I'm thinking of Geno, but... No, Aim for the Moment. Geno is on the move, and you do have to time your shots in there, but we're going to get to that later. Because that shrine is just... Yeah, that shrine's a different story. But enough wasting time. Aim for the Moment gets an S tier. Yeah. Alright, perfect. The next shrine here is Buried Secrets. And this shrine is good. It's not amazing, but it's good. Hear me out. You have to, like, find a metal box and a huge switch, but they're all, like, buried in a bunch of bombable rocks, stones, basically. And you have to put the box on the switch to reach the end. So there are a few chests, so maybe, like, everything can be considered a secret. But that is the point of the shrine. And they're not, like, buried. When I was first going to this shrine, I was stupid enough to believe that you would actually, like, take a shovel or something and try to dig something up because it was buried. But this ruined my dumb expectations, so I'm going to put it in A tier for that reason. Alright, next is 2 Orbs to Guide You. Again with the Guide You names. I guess this shrine is good. You just have to hit 1 orb into its pedestal, which unlocks another orb. And then with that, you have to You have to throw behind a gate while standing on a switch for that gate, basically. Yeah, okay. While standing on a switch to open up a gate, you have to throw the other orb in there, and then that will trigger like a platform that will start to move, and a platform that goes up and down. And then from there, you can just go up to the end. It's nice, but there are other shrines that use 2 orbs that guide you. So I'll give it in B tier. Synced swing. You have to swing 2 metal platforms and then swing some metal balls. And then you make your way up metal stairs and burn a metal door barrier to reach the end. That I've never used the word metal so many times like that in a sentence. Okay. Synced swing, I guess, like, it's irrelevant toward the end, but in the start, it's not that bad. Because you are swinging, like, platforms, steel balls, and yeah. But the synced part of this, I guess, has to do with the fact that if you don't, like, sync them, then it'll mess you up or something. It doesn't matter too much, though. So if it wasn't for, like, the last part of the shrine, I would have given this a B or higher. Actually, A or higher if it wasn't part of the shrine. But since it is, I'm going to give it a B tier. So, no, not nonsense. B. Okay, the next shrine here is moving in parallel, and you solve 2 slope puzzles with shrine orbs in parallel to reach the goal. Okay, I guess, like, they're not really in parallel. You have to do each shrine once. I mean, not shrine, orb. You have to solve for each orb once. So because of that, it doesn't say the orbs are moving, but nothing has to be perfect. I'll give this an A tier for that matter. Nice name. Next here is Melting Ice Hazard, and this, I guess if the ice does melt, you basically just, you have to restart, so it is a hazard when the ice is melting. So obviously you're not supposed to let ice melt, and therefore it implies that you have to bring ice to the goal. I want to say that this is perfect, but it describes the shrine puzzle pretty clearly. No need for, like, any explanation, vagueness, whatever. This goes in S tier. Oh, what did I just do? No, S tier. Yeah. Next shrine here is 2 bombs. So the first puzzle here requires 1 bomb, but the next 2 rooms has you using a circle and a square bomb to use the end. And it does utilize both of the bombs' different properties, like how the square bomb doesn't roll, but the circle bomb travels farther. And I'm pretty sure there is another shrine that uses 2 bombs. It was Shatter the Heavens. Yeah, we'll get to that one later. This shrine, if it wasn't for Shatter the Heavens, this would have gone in, like, A or something, but since it's not the only shrine that focuses on 2 bombs, I'll give it a B tier. Alright, great. The next shrine here is a delayed puzzle. And in a delayed puzzle, you have to get an electric ball that's bouncing between 2 launching platforms, and then you put it on an electric switch. It's not really... It is a puzzle, but it's not delayed. There's no... Delayed has nothing to do with the actual puzzle. I guess maybe because, like, it takes time for stasis or whatever to work. Or no, wait. No, it's not an electric ball. It's like an electric source. I'm just going to call it a source. So you have to get it down with magnesis, and the magnesis does make it delayed. But come on, it doesn't really make any sense. I'll put this in C tier, because this could have been better. Alright, next we have the current solution. And I like the pun here, because, like, current, like electric current, and current also meaning now. So you solve 4 puzzles, which all revolve around the electric current, leading, like, turning on platforms, whatever. And you have to use whatever's in front of you, like the source. Electric source comes back again. And this is going to be a common theme for a bunch of the Gerudo shrines, so Gerudo, I guess. If it wasn't for the pun, it's because of the pun here that makes this, like, in A tier. Because of current's 2 definitions. Well, it has more than 2, obviously. There's also the water current, but whatever. My point is, this goes in A tier. Okay, power of electricity. So this introduces and shows the properties of electricity to you. Word electricity sounds weird. Electricity, okay. So it's a great starting shrine since it's right next to the stable before you actually go into the desert and do the rest of the electricity shrines. And unlike Power of Fire, which was, like, out of the way from going to Death Mountain, Power of Electricity is right there before you get to Gerudo Desert. So it goes way above C tier. It goes in, like, A tier, showcasing what electricity can do in Breath of the Wild. So this goes here. Okay, the next shrine here, Electric Path. You have to go behind the room to go on a platform to get an electric source. And then that would make a path of electricity to make the following platform work. Oh, well, not following, moving platform. And then you go up a platform with that electric source and you go past a room with 2 guardians on middle blocks, then shock them. After that, you have to go up and put the source on the source dock to take the platform to the end. Hold on a minute. Go behind your room to go on a platform, get an electric source. Okay, I kind of see how this is Electric Path, but, like, it doesn't. There's every single shrine in Gerudo is an electric-based shrine. And keep in mind, when I'm referring to Gerudo, I'm referring to just the Wasteland portion of Gerudo, not the Highland portion, which is actually called Gerudo. Yeah, this game sucks. But anyway, Electric Path can get a... It's decent. It's not the best name. It's better than the next shrine, though, for sure. I'll give this a B tier. Okay, the whole picture. Let me say a few things. This isn't complete nonsense like ancient Trifecta, but this still really sucks. You have to start off with a bit, like, you just keep unlocking pieces progressively, and at the end, you've gotten the whole picture. It's not a picture, though. Maybe I'm missing a metaphor or whatever, but I really don't see this name any whatsoever relevant except for the whole part, which you have to do at the end. Enough said. I'm giving this a D tier. This goes away. Okay, the next shrine here is On the Move, and this is also really garbage description. You have to shoot an orb in its hole, which you can use stasis for. And you do that for 2 rooms, and in the last room you have to stasis the orb in the hole while crouching under the lasers. And I guess you are moving, and in the first 2 rooms the shrine is moving. It's not that. It's relevant, but it's not on par with the shrine puzzle. So, if I can think of something better, I would say, like, maybe Aim for the Moment, which I mentioned previously, could work for the shrine more, actually. I'll give this a C tier for now. Well, not like I'm gonna change my decision, because, like, there's 80 shrines. I need to stop saying like. Okay, we have 10 more shrines remaining. Let's do this. Bravery's Grasp is the next one. This shrine, I was stuck on this shrine for so long when first doing this. I didn't realize you could just pick up the laser and put it on the platform. But I really like that you can pick up the laser, and this is the only shrine that can do that. And it is called Bravery's Grasp, because you have to be brave in order to pick up that laser. It's not something that you would ordinarily expect. And that just triggers the platforms going up and down for you to reach the end. So I'm actually going to give this an... Well, the laser isn't that intimidating, really. Like, I guess, like... What did I just say about not saying like? This can go in A or S. This is hard to rank again. I guess this goes in S tier because it does test the player's bravery after all. Normally you're not expected to pick up a laser, and a player would be scared to actually do that. It might hit them, for example, until they actually reach the laser and realize they can pick it up. So I'll give this an S tier. Man, I am so lost. Now I want to give it an A tier because, like, the laser isn't that intimidating. How about, I'll just give it a high A tier. How about that? I'll give it a high A. Like, yeah. So just keep in mind that this is above all the other A tier shrines, but it's below S tier. Okay, next shrine here is Metal Doors Open the Way. You have to open 2 metal doors, obviously, to access the main shrine. Like the main puzzle room. Then you have to bomb a stone wall to the left to get a literal metal door to serve as a bridge between the 2 platforms to reach the end. This is one of the more hilarious shrine names. Metal doors open the way. Honestly, I like it. It's a lot better than Metal Makes a Path. I honestly forgot what that shrine was about. Was that... Oh, that was the... Okay, that was the pushing metal ball one. Yeah, no, Metal Doors Open the Way. It actually has, like... This one is actually showing what kind of item you have to use in order to reach the end. A door. So, this can go in A tier for that reason. Metal Doors Open the Way. Next name here is Shatter the Heavens. And this could have been named 2 bombs as well, because you do need 2 bombs circle bomb goes in, square bomb goes on top. You detonate the circle bomb, then when the platform reaches the top with all the bombable rocks, you have to detonate the square bomb. And you have to use the circle bomb again to launch yourself up to the goal. Yes, the rocks are heavens. They're up. So, shatter the heavens mean you have to break whatever's up. I mean, I won't... yeah, this is a good name. I don't know what I'm saying. It's better than two bombs for the reason that it's just a more specific description in general. It relates to this shrine a lot more. And there aren't really other shrines that have this characteristic of shattering the heavens. So, that goes in A tier. Next here is impeccable timing. And you have to time for the orb to go in the pedestal, which is blocked by platforms in the first puzzle. And then moving on water in the second one. There's only 5 orbs, so if you make a flaw, you do have to try again, but the orbs do float, so you can just pick them up again with Cryonis. It's a little annoying, though, because the platforms that move back and forth do break the Cryonis blocks. And impeccable means, like, flawless, basically, so the timing does have to be great, else, but Canon did have a similar thing. The only difference is that, obviously, that used cannons. This is just cannons, with cannon without the cannons. I'm going to give this an either an A or a B. There are too many timing shrines, though. So I'm going to give this a high B for that reason. Put Magnesis here. So remember, just like Bravery's Grasp, impeccable timings above all the other B ones, but not in A tier. Next here is Halt the Tilt. And you have to make your way across seesaws using stasis to prevent them from tilting. And you have to go to the end on a seesaw, which you can basically walk on even when it's tilted. Halt the Tilt does have you, like, at first, when you enter the shrine, you think that the platform is perfectly stable. But once you actually walk on it, you realize, oh no, it's just a seesaw. I need to use stasis or something to lock it so I can reach the goal. And because of that, I'll give it an A tier. It describes the shrine name well. And I'm pretty sure it's one of the only ones that uses tilting. This one has it as like the core puzzle of this shrine. Alright, we have 5 non-DLC shrines remaining. The next shrine here is a weighty decision. And you have a metal box at first to help the scales rise you up. But then you see a metal chest to put on a switch on like the other side of the gate. And then you have to make your decisions on which platforms to rise to ultimately reach your goal. Or, yeah. And there are 4 platforms at the end. So, since it is a scale shrine, and you do have to realize which weights you have to put down in order for your link to go up, because it is about weights. There was another shrine, I think, like this, in Lanayru. Drop and Rise had something similar, except that was just, you drop something and you rise it. It was a scale shrine, but not really a weighty decision shrine. It only had one thing. This one has a ton of decisions, though. So you have to decide which platform to land on and where you're gonna drop the metal box and all and stuff. Oh, honestly, I'll give it an A tier. A. If it wasn't for decision, this would have been a lot lower, but or weighty for that matter. It's just obviously the two words form the description that is needed. Weighty decision is it's good enough. It doesn't deserve S because it's not too descriptive. Because there are many shrines that have these weights on them. Like, even Speed of Light would count as a weighty decision shrine toward the end. But it's good enough. Next shrine here is Quick Thinking. And you have two chests here. One with a key, one with an optional item. Path on the left requires you to get out of the way quickly, while the one on the right requires you to shoot a switch fast enough to move the gates up and down. And it's nice, because if you don't think quick enough about, like, to dodge whatever or to open the gate, you're just gonna fall down. So the thinking part is nice here. Only problem is that there are other shrines that have this sort of quick thinking feeling to it. I guess, like, you don't really have to retry if you mess up, but there's more good shrine names than I thought, honestly, but after all, this is just a tier list on a game that's already too perfect, so let's put this in A tier. Okay. Next tier is Passing of the Gates, and you will just put an orb in an orb pedestal, and then you hit the switch to rotate the gate for the orb to go in. Wait, what? You put an orb in an orb holder, then hit the switch to rotate the gate for the orb to go in the hole. Okay, I see. This will make the launching platform, and you have to launch yourself to hit the switch in bullet time to rotate. Okay. I see exactly what's going on here. I guess the gate does flip, and you have to pass up the gate and then rotate it again in order to reach the end. It could have been better. It could have been more related to this shrine, obviously. And I don't know why, but I always confuse this shrine with the Speed of Light for some awkward reason. I'll give it a B tier. Could have been a tad bit better and it would have been an A tier or something, but I mean, it's good enough for the player to know that you have to go through a gate, though not in the way that you would expect. Next shrine here is Metal Connections, and this is honestly a really nice name. You use 3 climbable metal blocks, which connect the metal, and the metal later connects a ramp at the end to reach a goal. Only thing that makes this shrine name so good is that these are the only metal blocks in the entire game in shrines that aren't in DLC that you can climb on. And so the word connections here makes sense, because you can climb up these metal blocks. Plus, this has the only diagonal monk in the entire game, but that doesn't matter too much. This shrine's a little bit annoying, but the actual shrine name is very good. I'll put it in S tier, actually. So this goes up to S tier. Perfect. Alright, our final non-DLC shrine here is the Trial of Power. And I saved this one for last for a good reason. So you have to go through a series of rooms, ranging from avoiding a bunch of metal balls to hitting a stone with an apparatus hammer to charging a breaker. And this shrine is amazing, because even though the rooms are very different, they all do share that stone door you have to open. And this is a really long shrine, and I'm a fan of long shrines, such as Blue Flame and Trial of Power. What does the power have to do in this shrine, though? I guess there are a ton of guardians and stuff And you do need power in order to open the stone doors. So because of that, since it's just another one of those trial shrines, I'm not going to give it an S tier name. It goes on a high A tier along with Bravery's Grasp for this reason. This is a little laggy. No, not metal. What am I doing? Metal Mix a Path has to go here. Trial of Power goes in high A tier. Perfect. And with that out of the way, we have completed ranking all the non-DLC shrines in Breath of the Wild. And now we'll move on to DLC. So for the next 4 shrines, we're going to be dealing with shrines that intend you to start with only a quarter of a heart, as they are part of the one-hit obliterator challenge. So do keep that in mind when we take account for these names. The first shrine that we're going to be dealing with is Collected Soul, and you have to make your way avoiding a bunch of stones and spikes that are rolling down. And when you get to the actual puzzle, here you have to take a scoop, and you just try to scoop up the right orbs, basically. Now, I guess you do collect the correct orbs in order to proceed to the end. There's one big orb for the chest and one small for the actual goal, but I don't get what the soul here has to do with anything, really. I guess it's because of the location of this shrine, it's probably going to be most people's first obliterator shrine, and soul might have to do with the fact that you're only at a quarter of a heart. However, Collected soul would be referring to the orb, and in this case it just doesn't do that with me, so I'm going to put this in C tier. It could have been something much better than Collected Soul. I think Collected Orb even would have been better. It sounds lamer, but it would have been much more descriptive for the shrine name. It's a rather intuitive name, I would say, though. If the soul was referring to Link instead of the orb, now that would be a difference. Alright, the next shrine here is Stop to Start. And you have to cross these spike platforms in the start by gathering these metal pieces. And it's just a series of rooms, basically. One has you making your way across some gears, which you can stop in order to continue on. Then you have to glide down some metal balls that are swinging, which also you can stop. Even though you can only stop one ball, but... And the final room has a spike wall chasing you, where you're avoiding the spikes, which are trying to stop your way. This name is hard to rank. So I would say that Stop to Start, I don't know. I guess maybe it's referring to how Link or you can stop rotating or moving things with stasis if you want to start moving, else it's just going to push you back. But the shrine really isn't about that. These DLC names aren't pretty good so far. I'll give this a C tier because this is just too vague of a name. Kind of similar to Collected Soul. Alright, now we have Path of Light. And the entire shrine is dark, just like the Typhoho ruins in the northern part of the map. And you just make your way across lasers, spikes, fire, and then guardians to reach the end. The fire, lasers, and the guardian glow can be considered the light in this name, which is pretty nice. If there was any other shrine in the game that was pitch black, such as this one, then this name would not have been good, obviously. But I think it's a solid name. Obviously, an already lit up shrine can have a sort of path of light which you need to follow. But it could have been covered in Lost Woods fog, for example. But no shrine really does that. Something like you following the light, except for this one, so I'll give it an A tier for that reason. Alright, good. And now we have a major test of strength plus. I don't even know why I put this one here. If you played the DLC, you would remember this shrine well. It has that fake major test of strength at first, you one-hit it, and then you realize there's more you have to go, and then you use the obliterator to kill everything. It's a pretty fun shrine, but the name itself, I don't know what to say about this name too, honestly. I can't say it's A tier. It's definitely better than the regular major test of strength name, because the plus shows how it adds on to the regular major test of strength. So it can't be in C tier for that reason. I think I'll go with A tier, since it's just basically the only shrine name that's adding on to another shrine name. I kind of like it. This can go. It's so annoying to put everything in A tier and S tier now. Let's see. The next shrine here. Okay, so I'm gonna put all the meadow shrines. Actually, I'll just let this one be. No, yeah, I'll put all the meadow shrines in the front, because that's how my list goes. So this might take some time. Alright, perfect. Let's continue. The next shrine here is a Rivali shrine. Part of Rivali's song. And it's Master the Orb. So you have to control a path that an orb goes on to prevent it from falling and reaching the hole. First of all, I don't see how this is a wind-related or a volley-related shrine, but we'll get into that later with the Daruk shrine. I guess Master the Orb is referring to how you do control where the orb goes, and where the orb's destiny will end up becoming, whether it falls down or whether it reaches its hole. So, the name, it's not terrible. Considering that it should have been something like Master the Orb's Direction or whatever. It can't. I'm not gonna put it in S tier. So I'll just put this one in A along with Major Test of Strength Plus. Okay, now we have the Four Winds. This is a nice shrine, even though there's a lot more than 4 winds. So you have to make your way through fans, and they either make you get up or they have to blow on the windmills, which will unlock the gates for the fans that get you up. Well, no, the central fans is what I'm talking about, which makes you glide to the top. And since there's only 4 central fans that are really required, and the rest of the fans are just support ones, this name is pretty on par with what the shrine has to say. I'm not going to be too strict on it, because else this video would be no fun. Probably is already no fun for all of you guys watching this sad hour, but regardless, I'll put this one in. I'll put this in A tier too, because these DLC names seem pretty good. Alright, now we have our shrine Aim for Stillness. And you just go up through a series of diagonal fans. Sometimes you put bombs in the bomb roller to blast it to the rocks which are blocking the path, and that will make you reach the end. It's a little irrelevant because it seems like it would be something similar to the shrine aim for the moment, but aim for stillness. It's pretty irrelevant to what the actual shrine puzzle is. But diagonal fans are cool. It just feels what if there were proper slopes that Link could just roll down and up in the actual game. Am I being stupid, or are there actually... Well, yeah, you guys get what I mean. I'll talk about that in another shrine for Daruk, about how Link can go flying through one of the shrine mechanisms. But aim for stillness. Nah, this is not a good name. I'm giving this a C tier. Actually, no, it has some... It's pretty relevant. It's somewhat relevant. You have to aim the bomb roller or cannon to be still with the rock thing while the windmill isn't activated. So you have to make that still. And then, yeah, I kind of see how it's relevant now. But since it's hard to get, I'll give it a B tier. It's not 100% accurate to what the shrine's giving. Alright. Now we have Ruta's song. And the first shrine here is support and guidance. So you have to make a big orb to go to its hole while using Cryonis to support and guide it, obviously. Many other shrines could use this name though, so it's not really anything unique. The only other thing about this shrine I would like to say, this is just another one of those orb on the side wall using Cryonis to change the direction it goes type of shrine. Similar to one we saw all the way back in Lanayru with the water guides. So I'll give this one a C tier. Next here we have Secret Stairway. And I believe this is one of the only puzzle shrines where 3 out of the 4 runes are intended. Those being Stasis, Cryonis, and Magnesis. You can use bombs if you want to launch the Stasis up. I don't know if that's necessary or intended. You obviously have to make a stairway out of what's given to you. Just a few metal blocks. And I kind of like this name. It's definitely not secret because it's given to you right there, but probably the way that the stairway's made is definitely secret. Because that's up to the player to figure out. And the player would have to know which room to use, which room to not. So, I'll give this one a high A tier. Or should I give it an S, actually? Secret Stairway. S or high A? I think I'll just leave it an A, because there are other shrines where you have to create a secret stairway as well. Such as a shrine I'll mention later in Naboris. Or in Urbosa's song. Alright, next is the Melting Point. And this is a pretty literal name. You just go through a series of ice blocks and melt some of them in order to make them small. And then you melt the block at the top so you can lift it and take it with you up with Cryonis at the end. Else you can't normally reach that goal. That side of the goal. And I was thinking this would have something to do with 0 Celsius, which is or 32 Fahrenheit, which is the melting point of water, but it was just about you taking some fire and melting ice. Nothing really related to, like, advanced physics or whatever. It's a pretty basic name, I would say. This can be an A-tier name. Yeah, that's good. Melting point. Alright, now we're in Daruk's Shrine songs. Or whatever. Just Daruk's song. And then, so the first thing we have up... The first thing we have is Blind Spots. And this is a pretty dumb name, honestly. So, well, let me tell you this. You have to use Cryonis in a Daruk-themed shrine. Which is basically in a volcanic, almost, themed shrine. Do you understand how stupid that is? Well, I guess the song shrines don't really mean that much to the champion. But a Cryonis shrine in Elden. Unbelievable. Not only that, but in this shrine, blind spots. Nothing's really blind. You're just on a climbable conveyor cube and you just move out of the way. And the last section of this has you going up a Cryonis stairway. But blind spots. Nah, this is going in D tier. I don't see how anything here is blind. I don't... Spots, I guess, but the adjective needs to be fixed. And don't make me make a video on fixing shrine descriptions either. Next tier is moving targets. This is a pretty nice name, because it's about targets, obviously, and along with cannon, it's the only other shrine in the game to use cannons in it. You start out with a target which doesn't move, but that lets you get used to the moving cannon, which wasn't seen in the previous shrine named Cannon. So after that, after you get used to that moving cannon on the stable target, then on the next thing, the target starts to move. So you have to get used to hitting that. And then at the end, you literally have to move the target using an apparatus thing. For both of the targets, you have to literally move a target, one of them at the end, in order to proceed. So it's pretty nice how Nintendo took the words moving targets and used them in two definitions. One of them being how the moving targets is referring to the targets which are moving, and another referring to you moving targets. Link moving targets. So this is getting an S tier, because no other shrine really does that type of double meaningness. Also, I'm sorry if I'm stuttering a lot. And our last shrine here for Daruk is Block the Blaze. And you just make your way through the end while blocking blazes, which is just fire from hitting you. And I marked this one as a W name. W. You know what, actually? Just for the sake of it, nah, I'm not going to create a W tier. That's not happening. So Block the Blaze is a W name. It's literally just you blocking the blaze. And that is definitely an S tier name right there. Whenever a shrine name gives exactly what you have to do for the puzzle. And it's unique. I guess other shrines do have something similar, maybe. But those tend to be shrines that focus on other puzzles, such as moving in ice through some blazes. What is this? Forget. So Block the Blaze is getting an S tier. Not a high S, though. It's not as good as moving. Just pretend it's a low S. So it's S tier, but it's going to be worse than all the other S tier names mentioned. But it's better than everything else. Okay? Alright. Next and final champions shrines are Urbosas. And so first we have inside the box. And you just count the number of orbs there are inside of a box, which is similar to the shrine Fateful Stars, I believe, in the Korok Forest, because you have to count the number of stars in that shrine and then put an orb in that number depending on how many of that respective constellation there is. Similar to inside the box, except now you're counting each color of every orb. Like yellow, red, green, blue, purple. And it has some similarities to the designs of the Thundra Plateau orbs. So they also probably made a joke on how you literally have to think inside the box. Like, you're not trying to overthink this outside of the box. You just think it with common sense about the puzzle and you'll get it right. So that could be a possible reason for why it's inside the box. Or maybe I'm trying to think outside the box too. I don't know. I'll give this shrine an A tier. Pretty nice name, but it's not that specific, I would say. Especially, it could have been something such as counting colored orbs inside the box. That would have been too long, though. I'm not good at making shrine names. Colors in the box. Yeah, that would be a good name. Colors in the box. Alright, but that's going to remain an A. Up next, we have Big or Small. And you go through a series of electric puzzles, but it's just a line kind of shrine. Just one straight line. But it's also one electric flow to the vertical left of Link. The wall, basically. So, for each time that electric flow isn't there, you have to decide whether to put a small box or a big box to continue that flow. And it's a pretty nice name. It's literally, are you going to choose a big box or a small box? Up to you. There is an irrelevant chest mission at the end where you have to line up these electric things, but I'm not going to count that as part of the actual shrine puzzle. So I'm going to give this an A tier, only because they could have mentioned something about the boxes. Because big or small can mean anything, really. But I guess some of that might apply to... yeah... No, I think we're good. In my opinion. Okay! The last shrine we have here is Dual Purpose. And this shrine is... You know what? This shrine is absolutely garbage. This shrine is with the likes of Ancient Trifecta. Complete nonsense. Let me explain. You have to move metal boxes in a way such that the electric flow... Like, the electric flow has to open this gate. And there you have to do that for 2 rooms or something. And at the end, there's this really annoying stairway, which requires you to build a stairway similar to Secret Stairway. But at the same time, also, you have to keep the electric flow steady. But you guys already know where this is going based on my reaction. Complete nonsense. Yep. What does purpose... It serves no purpose in the game to include a name like Dual Purpose. And there's no 2 purposes in the shrine other than just electricity. What? Does this have something to do with the actual electricity part? Let me search up what Dual Purpose means. Serving 2 purposes of functions. Well, yeah, obviously. Now let me search up dual purpose electricity. Yep, no results. That's exactly what I thought. Yep. No proper results relating to why this shrine could be named dual purpose. But anyways, we're done ranking every single shrine description in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Like, if I rushed this or if I was just being lazy about all of these rankings. But this did take me quite a long time to make, though. So I would appreciate if you were to do the usual. Like, subscribe, etc. I hope this video gets attention, but I don't know if it'll be a substantial player in the algorithm. So I'll see you all next time, and I'm probably never gonna make a video this big for a while, because this was very tiring to make. And I'm only scrolling up and down so that you guys see the entire tier list. It's pretty long, so I'll just leave a full image of it in the description. And with that, take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you all so much for watching.